Welcome to Tech Challenge Makers Conquer E-commerce. I'm Elise, your resident tech expert and author of the book Browser versus Buyer. I've worked with entrepreneurs for over 6 years, and I've helped hundreds of creatives overcome their technology fears. Gain clarity and direction in your business with Elise's E-commerce Elevator 6-month group coaching program. Join now at myscheduledbiz.com/elevator. The link is in the show notes. All right. Hello, Bizzers. Today, we are going to be talking with Monica Sharma from Business with Monica. She is an e-commerce brand mentor and consultant and a purpose-driven brand, marketing, and strategy professional with 17 years of global experience building brands. She's worked across diverse sectors and companies from Fortune 500s to scale and startups. She's even been hired by Google to coach their premium partners. By the end of this episode, you're going to understand the importance of creating a lifestyle brand instead of just a product, the technology that you can use to help you with this, and of course, walk away with one action step. So Monica, I am so glad to have you here to help the Bizzers. Can you tell us a little bit about your business and your experience with e-commerce?
Yeah, hi, Elise. Thank you so much for having me on. Yes, absolutely. So as you already touched on it, 17 to 18 years experience building brands, literally from my master's in business to entering the corporate world across brand management, strategy consulting, and global marketing, to actually quitting when I had my second child and realizing I wanted to go out on my own and follow this old dream I had. And I started my own online store, bringing home accessories from India to the Netherlands. I'm Dutch by birth, Indian by heritage, and I really wanted to do something combining those two worlds. And I quickly realized, though, when I started that it was like an old teenage dream I was following. And I really love building brands and working with multiple businesses, which is what was the red thread in my career. And I was already still freelancing, but my passion was to scale down to and niche down to smaller businesses where I can actually see the direct impact of the work I do and really work with them closely. It's such a different relationship. And the impact is not just on their business, but on their life. And I really noticed by looking around with the peers around me where they were getting stuck. And I was really around the brand bit. They were all doing the right things, the right actions, getting in the traffic, getting in, putting out the content, but sometimes just still not being able to see the results they wanted to see for the level of business they were at. And I was like, okay, the missing piece was really about the customers and understanding their brand and being able to consistently translate that into messaging. So that's what I started to focus on, and really working with smaller businesses as well as scale-ups, but product-based e-commerce and retail.
And that's why you're here, because you have the experience. You've been doing this forever, right, guys? And you have seen, like you said, you've been with the small ones, which that's who most of my people are. We're talking about small e-commerce shop owners that just need help fine-tuning so they can actually reach their people. 100%. So here's the big question. Are you ready for this? Why should our listeners care about creating a lifestyle brand, and how does it impact sales? Before we jump into the rest of this episode, please share this podcast with other business owners that it can help. Also, be sure to stick with me to the end of the episode to learn your challenge for today and implement what you've learned.
So this is the one question I'm so passionate about, and I can go on forever. I'll try and stick to the point, which is, first of all, understand the market we operate in. I mean, I think it was like a $5 trillion e-commerce market or something. So you're competing with thousands and thousands and thousands of different stores. This is not like somebody's walking in your store and you can engage them in a conversation. Everything is a click away. I can have 10 tabs open. People are going to click. So how are you going to keep them engaged with what you do, whether it's through your social media, email, or on your website? It's really understanding how people buy, right? And one of the main things is we as humans, we buy on feelings. There's a lot of research that shows that purchases tend to be subconscious. So we tend to buy on feelings, but we explain it using our brain and logic. So we choose with the heart and then we explain with the brain, basically. And that's where the lifestyle comes in, because you need to show people how your product fits into their life. Otherwise, I'm going to start comparing your product with every other one out there. Say you're making cushions. Well, okay, maybe the cushions are not that different, a different pattern, but what really makes it different? Why does it fit better into my life, yours especially, versus somebody else? So really understand that people buy on feelings, and how can you bring that alive through stories and really showing and conveying the value it offers in their life and what makes you particularly unique and different. So why you? Why should I buy from you?
So I always like to bring it back home to what everybody cares about the most, and that is the money. So
Yes.
how does this impact the sales? That's really kind of where we want to drive down to.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Like even Amazon in their commercials, it's a story. Any commercial from any brand is a story. It's no longer just, here's my product. It's so and Susie Q is eating dinner with her family at Thanksgiving and she uses this thing. Therefore, you
Yeah.
should buy it because you'll love it too. But how does that really impact our sales? Why is everyone doing this?
So this is where you create the engagement. This is for your audience, for your particular niche. They'll be able to feel like it actually relates to them. This is for me, and therefore they're more likely engage with you. They'll feel like you empathize with them, you get them. They'll more likely stay there with you and then eventually click buy. So you're going to buy from somebody that you can actually feel that gets you. As humans, we are still humans, and there's also, again, a lot of research, by the way, showing that people who buy from DTC businesses, so direct to consumer businesses versus the Amazons and marketplaces of the world, they actually do look for content on your website that goes beyond just your products. They want to know who's the person behind it. They want to know how the products are made. They want to know what it does for them. And that keeps them on your website longer and engages them, and therefore ends up helping them click buy from you. So yes, it has a direct impact on your sales.
It's a differentiator, right? If you've got this ball of yarn and this ball of yarn, and the person who made this shows how it came from an alpaca, and it's this whole story and how it's exactly aligned with how you feel as a creator, you're going to buy from the company that you love their story, that you would relate to them. So it differentiates you.
It completely differentiates you, but and remember that nobody can copy your story, right? It can be similar, there'll be similar touch points, but it can never be exactly the same. So actually sharing also about your why as well as your touching on your customers' why, that is going to be something that really differentiates you. And it's not just about how it's made, so that's one aspect, but also how this pertains to their life. So that ball of yarn, if you're talking, say you're speaking to an audience of moms and you're constantly who love making things for maybe their children, your stories can be all about the children and how that ball of yarn can help you create something that means so much to them. Maybe you're talking to an audience that is of say slightly maybe senior citizens who are making things for their grandkids or for themselves. The stories are going to be so different, but you're going to actually relate to them in a way that nobody else can. And that's where it has a direct impact on your sales.
Yeah. Then they buy from you instead of this other person.
Exactly. And they'll stop clicking away so easily. And you stay top of mind. And hopefully they're talking to others about you too and bringing others along.
Yes. Raving fans bring you the best referrals for sure. And referrals are the best customers. Okay. So let's jump to our second question. So this entire podcast is all about tech. And so I have to ask this question every time. And I honestly don't know what you're going to say. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. So the question is, how does technology play a role in creating a brand lifestyle?
Well, I probably shouldn't be surprised too much, but I mean, from your social media platforms that you're using and to the nurture sequences in your email, that is the technology you should be using. And I'm going to focus here a little more on the email part because this is where you can automate as well and make your life easier. For social media and a lot of places, you're creating constantly new content. But I think the huge opportunity are twofold. Once when you're getting completely new people in onto, say, your email list or SMS list, if that's what you're using, and when they buy from you, the post-purchase sequence. Automate them, telling them about first of all, making sure you're really getting them excited and prepped about the decision to join your list or buy from you, making sure you tell more about who you are and your story, having emails that actually not just showcases your products, which you should absolutely do, but also shows how that product can work in their lives. That can be through testimonials, but can also be to little stories of how people have used it or how you can see people use it, how it's made. So having different sequences that can really take them through that journey, both when somebody joins new on your list and you're engaging them to make that first purchase. And secondly, when they buy from you, this is one that people forget the most, is post-purchase flow, having a post-purchase email flow that really reinforces that decision to buy and how it fits into their lifestyle. And there, for example, use cases, how to take care of it, how to use your product, different ways to style it, just helping them further. So moving away from selling to helping is what will keep them in your world and make them feel like, okay, can really work in my life in different ways. And that's what will keep them with you for longer as well.
So this doesn't exactly relate to a lifestyle brand, but I feel like it kind of does. Asking them what they want. For sure, like if you ask a poll, if you send them a question, gives them the opportunity to say, this is how this will fit in my life the most. And then they have more buy-in, right? Which I think also works really well with your email series, your automations, all of those things.
I'm the biggest advocate for getting to know your customers and getting to know them, asking questions, taking feedback at any stage you can. So yes, absolutely use that.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of tech things you can use for that as well to make it easy. I mean, even just Google Forms makes it so easy for you to collect information. So yeah, 100% on board with that. All right, so
absolutely.
One more question. And that is kind of my favorite because I'm always entertained by how hard it seems to be for people to just narrow in on one thing. So here's your opportunity. You ready? What is the one thing that every listener should implement today when it comes to creating a lifestyle brand?
Well, it actually relates to your last question, which is, for me, it all starts with getting to know your customers. Real over ideal. No, a lot of people are making these ideal customer avatars, but ideal means something from your imagination. Go look it up in a dictionary. I want you to know who's that real customer that is buying from you. Not just survey them, but literally reach out and do customer interviews, get to know them, ask them questions, who they are, the key demographics, and what stage of life they're in, but their core desires. What's going on in their life? What's happening? What makes them happy? What are the struggles? What's stopping them from from creating those more happy moments? What are they doing in their within your category? How do they find you or competitors, triggers and barriers to buy? And what makes them truly happy? What delights them? So those are like 4Ds of category of questions you can go ask your customers and really get to know them, and that will easily help you create that story and identify what are the benefits you really offer them and create that story and that lifestyle brand.
So can you tell us the 4Ds again?
Demographics, desire, do, and delight.
What was the third one?
Desires.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so their core needs, wants, and desires, basically.
Right, gotcha. So yes, I'm 100% on board with you. Asking your people is definitely the way to go. I actually did this recently on a survey that I did for my clients and was astounded to find out that one of the biggest draws for them being small business owners is that they can take a nap whenever they want. And I think those types of little details turn really well into story that someone can relate to. And it never would have occurred to me to talk about that until I surveyed all these people, and so many of them said the same thing.
Absolutely. See, that's already creating a lifestyle. You're selling business services, but it's really about giving people the freedom to take that rest when they want to. And it was this really fun question I asked somebody over what they did for Christmas, for example. And what actually stood out is, yes, they did a lot of activities, but what really stood out for them and the moments that really mattered to them were the moments that they were resting with their kids on the couch. And yes, we forget that's what you want to build on your brand around, not those 10 million activities that you're doing over Christmas holidays.
Right. It's about those small moments that have a really strong image, right? We can really all relate to those moments. And so, yeah, that's 100% what it's about, is showing your customers that your product, whatever it is, whether it's a service, e-com, whatever, can fit into the lifestyle that they imagine for themselves.
Yeah. Well, just imagine it being like a house where you're kind of staging it for somebody walking in. It's the same way with your products.
Exactly. They always put the cookies in the oven. There's a reason they do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Monica, I just want to thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. If our listeners want to know more, how can they find you?
So definitely visit my website, businesswithmonica.com. We've given a link for a handy download, which are exactly those 4Ds, the desires over demographics framework. So in case you forgot, you can just download it. You'll join my email list as well. And I'm super active on Instagram, businesswithmonica.com, and LinkedIn.
Okay, awesome. So guys, connect with Monica on Instagram. Go grab the download so that she can give you some more details about the 4Ds and you can really start to use that in your business. And of course, if you need any help setting these things up, I'm sure she'd be happy to help you. You can always reach out with her. It is Business with Monica. That should be right below. And Monica, I hope we can connect again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. Want more help with your e-commerce brand? Subscribe to Tech Challenge Makers Conquer E-commerce on your favorite podcast platform so that you don't miss any of the episodes that are released every week to help you grow your e-commerce shop. Also, please leave a review so that we can help even more e-commerce shop owners. Thanks for listening. See you next week right here on Tech Challenge Makers Conquer E-commerce.